Hello, students. How are you all doing? Yes, I could see most of you are joining the session today. Wonderful, fantastic. So, I hope everybody is having a good day so far. Yes, definitely. So, it's really wonderful and fantastic to have all of you in today's session. A very warm welcome to all of you once again to another exciting class today. This is Pratibha and I'm your senior biology teacher. So, in today's discussion, we are going to start with a new topic, that is the topic of control and coordination. We are going to understand about the concept according to the exam point of view, and if you are having any kind of questions, any kind of queries, or if you wanted to know more details about the concept, you can definitely feel free to reach out to us by the chat or the comment section. So, shall we quickly get started with today's discussion? Are you all ready? I could see most of the students are very excited. Let's wait for a few more seconds for others to join and then we shall start with our discussion, okay? Meanwhile, I want every one of you to please place a notebook and pen along by your side so that whenever we are having any important discussion, you can definitely make a note of it. Yes. So I could see most of the students joining, lot number of students. Let's get quickly started with today's discussion. So in today's discussion, our topic will be of control and coordination. Okay, so in the concept of control and coordination, what exactly the topics that we shall discuss will be, we shall be understanding about the introduction, of course. Any chapter will have the basic introduction, right? So we shall understand about the introduction, followed by the sense organs and receptors. We shall be understanding about human nervous system and the organs of it. We shall be understanding about central nervous system and the parts and the functions of the brain. Particularly the brain is one which belongs to the central nervous system. Okay, spinal cord is also the one belonging to the central nervous system. We shall discuss regarding them, followed by the peripheral nervous system, the parts and the functions of PNS, and half nervous tissue is getting protected, the brain habita is getting protected, and reflex action, reflex arc, the type of reflexes. A brief glance we shall be understanding. Now you might have a question. Ma'am, there are few more topics in this now. Like we have the topic of coordination in plants and hormones with respect to human beings. Then what about them? Do you also have the question? Same question in your mind? Okay, let me be specific. If we discuss all the things in one single time, now it's really not fitting into our brain. It is really very difficult for us to understand, digest, and it is really very difficult, right? So that's the reason what I have done. This particular chapter, I shall be discussing it in two parts. So today's discussion will be only this. In the next subsequent upcoming sessions, we shall be understanding about the other things like how the coordination in plants is getting carried out, what is the function of plant hormones, what is the function of human hormones. All this conceptual discussion will be there. Okay, so now let's see what will be the concept of control and coordination. Tell me, what do you think, what do you infer by this term? So the term is control and coordination, right? It is doing something, it is giving a specific action. Okay, so for suppose let's take a small seed and you are very fond of having the seeds and planting them. So you have taken a small seed, you have placed inside the ground. After some days, what happens? The seed germinates, right? So it will be germinating. It gives the roots, it gives the shoot. The shoot will be emerging up and the root will be penetrating the soil and emerging downwards, right? So basically, what we can observe over here, the living organisms, they are showing the movement which is a sign of life. So in our seed scenario also, when we are trying to plant a seed, the seed germinates, it pushes the ground, it pushes the soil and it is moving, it is growing. Means we can say it is showing a movement with respect to the growth. So similarly, we see many of the living organisms not only growth. There are certain things that we are carrying on. For example, if you are moving from one place to another place, of course, we can call it as a locomotion, right? There is a movement. Our bones and muscles are helping us in moving. But what is guiding to move? Our brain is making decisions. Our nerves are creating impulses, generating impulses, sending commands, sending instructions. Yes, definitely. So we can say the living organisms, they are using the control and coordination systems for achieving various things within our body. So in multicellular organisms, suppose if it is a unicellular organisms, let's take the first scenario. The single cell itself performs all the activities. Nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion, control and coordination, all will be exhibited by the single cell. But if it is a multicellular organism, when there is an increase in the structural complexity of the living organism, of course, we could find specialized tissues and organs should be there in order to perform the control and coordination. So what we can say, with respect to the multicellular organism, specialized tissues and specialized organs will be performing the control and coordination. Yes, so this might be related to growth or not related to growth, that's not mandatory, but a living organism is definitely showing a movement. Wow, that's fantastic. Then now, with respect to the animals, with respect to the human beings, how this control and coordination should get carried out? Do you think it is only the function of nervous system? No, no, no. Not only the nervous system. There is one more system that we shall discuss about. Okay, so the first one is the nervous system, and then we shall have the endocrine system. In today's discussion, we shall focus on the nervous system. In the next session, we shall understand about the endocrine system. I told you earlier, na, we shall be understanding about the hormones. So where do the hormones be? Within respect to the endocrine system, the endocrine glands secrete them. Okay, so we shall discuss about these things. So the coordination in animals being brought out by the nervous system and endocrine system. Okay, so what they do? They are like friends together. They jointly coordinate. You know, if there is a small task, if in your schools, if they have given you to perform any projects or anything, any work related work, so what do? If you perform it in a single way, it's really difficult for you. That's the reason they pair you up along with your co-classmates or the other classmates, and you both will do together the work very efficiently with two different innovative brains, with two different innovative ideas, ideologies. You put your best work possible. Yes, so in the similar manner, we have not only the nervous system, the endocrine system, both of them, they jointly coordinate. It's like they are mutually coordinating with each other. They are integrating the functions of various body parts. Why? In order to maintain the normal physiology, in order to carry out the normal physiological process for the body to help in having its own activities without any hindrance. The nervous system and the endocrine system, both of them together, they work. Okay, so let's take the previous example only. If two of your friends are working together, sometimes some might be quick in their action, some might complete the work very fast, but the second one might take some time, right? Okay, take time, but have the accuracy, have the precision, so the work is completed and the work will be perfect. Okay, so similar manner, we have two things over here, the nervous system and the endocrine system. So the nervous systems, here the actions will be getting mediated by the neuron, and these are very quick. And on the other hand, we have the second category, the endocrine system, where the actions are getting mediated by the hormones, but they are slow. But yes, they work. They might be slow. It's not like they don't work. They are slow, but they are perfect, they are accurate, and they are precise. Okay, so we can say that the coordination in animals being brought by nervous system and endocrine system. Are we clear till here? Can we move forward then? Definitely. Now, you're on your way to home back from the schools. You have come across a very nice, beautiful food shop. Okay, food or cafeteria. Let's define it as cafeteria. Okay, you have seen some good kind of food that are very lovely, and your eyes have first seen it. You are in urge to eat it. You have some money, of course. Now your brain thinks, my money is there. If I spend over here, I will not be left with any money, or some calculations you will be making in your mind. So, if it is a real intensity of you to eat that particular food item, okay, you will go, you will order it, that will come to you. Then, first, you see it, you smell it, you touch it, and you taste it. Yes, am I clear? Now, what is helping you to analyze the food item? Your sense organs. So, what are sense organs? The eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin are the sense organs, 5 sense organs. Okay, what they will be doing? They will be sensing the changes within the environment, and they will be giving the information to whom? To your brain. Okay, so to whom? Of course, to our brains, no. Then for whom they will give? No, no. So now, if you could find, first the eyes have seen, the nose have smelled, the ears particularly for hearing, and the tongue for tasting, and the skin for having the touch sensation. These are the sense organs. There will be some special structures in these sense organs which will be helping you to analyze and understand what is a kind of external stimuli that is making you to give some action. Okay, so what are they? They are receptors. Let me tell you once again, what are receptors? They are a special cells or the group of cells where they are being present in the sense organ. Okay, so where they, what they are sensitive for? They are sensitive for stimuli, like it might be light. Eyes are sensitive for light. Sound, ears sensitive for sound. Smell, nose is sensitive for smell. Taste, tongue, and heat pressure, how we can feel it? Through touch sensation, nothing but the skin. So these receptors are of various kinds, and let's see what are the receptors. Photoreceptors are the ones that detect the light present in eyes. Phonoreceptors detect sound present in ears. Olfactory receptors detect the smell present in nose. What else we have? Gustatory receptors, which enhances, like which helps in detecting the taste present on the tongue. And finally, thermoreceptors. These thermoreceptors are detecting the heat or the cold. Particularly where they are being present, they are being present within the region of the skin. Wow, that's really wonderful. Ma'am started with the concept of coordination, and ma'am have told about nervous system, endocrine system. Now we are thinking ma'am is into these sense organs and these receptors. What is this? Let me tell you, okay? I just wanted to describe about the functioning of control and coordination with respect to the human beings. So that's the reason I'm introducing all these terms initially for you. So that whenever I go to the concept, it will be very easy for you. Okay, now stimulus and response. What is a stimulus? When there is any change in the environment, if it might be heat, okay, when it is a lot of coolness around you, what you do? You wear extra protective clothing to protect your body from the coolness, right? Yes, in winter seasons we wear sweaters for the same. So stimulus is any change in the environment. It might be heat, light, sound, or touch. So what does the receptor do? Gustatory, olfactory, all this we have seen now. The receptors will be converting it into electrical signals, and this is called as a nerve impulse. Now, the nerve impulse is traveling through the sensory nerves reaching the brain or the spinal cord. Okay, so the stimulus, now where it is reaching? The brain or the spinal cord. You have seen a beautiful rose. You wanted to see it in very near way. You wanted to move towards the region where the rose is present. Okay, particularly probably initially you are a very far away place. So you are just moving. You have moved. You are observing the rose very clearly. So, what gave you an intention of moving towards which gave you an instruction? Of course, your brain, right? So, now the brain is processing the message that you have seen a beautiful rose. Now, you wanted to move near to it, you wanted to observe in a very magnified way. So, you wanted to move near to it. Now, the brain is processing the message and it is sending the instruction through motor nerve to muscle or gland. So this muscle or gland shows a response. Nothing but you moving towards the rose flower. Of course, the muscle movement only gives us with movement, locomotion, skeletal system and muscular system. They both work together, right? So now what is an effector? Effector is nothing but the part of the body that is respond to the nerve signal. Here it is muscle or the gland. Muscle being responsible for movement, gland being responsible for secretions. It might be the salivary secretions, it might be sweat or any kind of secretions. Okay, so nerve control and coordination in humans. In humans also we have two systems. They work together. What are they? Endocrine system and nervous system. So what they are controlling? The body movements, thinking, emotion and internal activities. When the topic control and coordination came, we generally think it is only the external movements, but no, not only the external movement, it is also the internal movement. It might be heartbeat, it might be digestion, it might be any internal process that is occurring with respect to a human body. Yes, so now coming to the first thing, the first main topic, human nervous system. So what does it act like? It will act like a control center from the surroundings. When there is a change in the environment, there is a receiving of information from the surroundings, and our brain or the spinal cord, the nervous system is understanding this information, and it also sends the instruction to different body parts so that our different body parts are reacting according to the stimulus that was received. Yes, so now coming to the structural and functional unit of our nervous system. It is nothing but the neuron. What we can call the neuron to be? Repeat with me. The structural and the functional unit. Okay, so this is the structural and functional unit. What it comprises of? It comprises of some short branching structures, the dendrites. So nerve impulse from the other neuron will be entering this neuron through this dendrites only. The next what it have? This is the cell body, otherwise called as soma. From the cell body, a long cylindrical region is there, no? That is nothing but the axon. Okay, so around the axon, we could see a sheet-like structure called as myelin sheath. So here neurons are of two categories, myelinated neurons, non-myelinated neurons. Myelinated neurons will have myelin sheath, non-myelinated neurons don't have myelin sheath. Okay, so we could see some gaps over here in the myelin sheath which are called as nodes of Ranvier, and the neuron ends with the axon terminals, the nerve endings. Okay, so this is the overall structural and functional unit of the nervous system, that is a neuron. So nerve impulse from the other neuron reaches the dendrites, travels to the cell body, from cell body to the axon, axon to nerve terminals. From here it is reaching to the next neuron. Okay, so the structural organization of neuron, mainly we can say that it is having three parts. What are they? The cell body, the dendrites, and the axon. Okay, now the ones that I have discussed previously in the diagram, the same are being mentioned over here. So what is the function of neuron then? What will be the function of it? It will be receiving, carrying and transmitting the messages. How? In the form of impulses, that to electrical impulses. So from one part to another part of the body for the transmission of messages or information, this will be playing a very important role. And this neuron is the structural and functional unit of the nervous system. Okay, so why neurons are so special? What is the speciality of them? Means they are designed to carry the messages very fast. Their action is so quick. Within a flash, they will be giving the response. So they are also transmitting the impulses, the signals over long distances. Okay, so whenever there are changes in the environment, they help the body to respond very quickly. So, for suppose we are moving, suddenly a flash of light appears on our face from nowhere. What we will be doing? Immediately, we are going to put our head away, right, from the light source. We are showing a quick response. How? With the help of neuron, with the help of the nervous system. Now, the direction of nerve impulse. The nerve impulse always travels in a single direction. From where? From the dendrites. Okay. Dendrites to cell body to axon, axon to axon endings, the nerve endings. This is how only one directional response will be there. So, now coming to synapse. Okay, in the previous scenario, we have seen the first neuron. Let's take two neurons over here. The first neuron and the second neuron. From dendrites, the nerve impulse gets transmitted to the cell body, then to axon, then up to the axon terminals, the nerve endings. Now it should move to the second neuron. How this is happening? Okay, in between these two neurons, there is a small gap, and we are calling it as synapse. So what is a synapse? The small gap between two neurons is called as a synapse. So using certain chemical substances, which we generally call it as neurotransmitter, the nerve impulse is causing the synapse. So by this, it also ensures the nerve impulse is traveling in only one direction, means only one way. Okay, so let me show you the neurotransmitter. This is a presynaptic neuron. Presynaptic neuron means the one before the synapse. Postsynaptic means the ones after the synapse. Okay, so now coming to the types of neurons. We have three categories of neurons: sensory neurons, motor neurons, relay neurons or interneurons. Remember, neuron being the structural and functional unit of the nervous system, it is of again three categories. What are they? Sensory, motor and relay neuron. Okay, so now let's try to understand what will be the differences between the types of neurons. So for better understanding, I have put this in a tabular format. Let's check the features: function, direction of impulse, location, example. Okay, give me a movement. Yes. Or sometimes that comes now. Don't worry. Okay, just ignore that. So now we could see the function over here. The features include the function, the direction of impulse, location, example, and what it is also being called as. Okay, so function of sensory neuron, motor neuron, and interneuron. Sensory neuron carries the impulses from sense organs to CNS. Motor neuron from where? CNS means central nervous system to muscles or glands. Interneuron or relay neuron connects the sensory and motor neurons. It is acting as a connecting bridge between this and this. So coming to direction of impulse, from receptors to the brain and spinal cord. Motor is from brain or the spinal cord to the effector. Interneuron is within the CNS. Now location, where the sensory neuron is present, sense organs and central nervous system. The motor neuron, CNS and effectors, there it is present, and interneuron, only within the brain and the spinal cord region. So example, when we touch anything, we feel heatness or pain, pressure by the touch sensation, right? That one. Motor neuron is movement of hand, withdrawal of leg, movement of hands and legs, okay? That will be coming. Interneuron, on the other hand, in reflex action, in the quick, automatic, immediate responses, they will be playing a very important role. So, sensory is called as afferent neuron, motor is also called as afferent neuron, and interneuron is also called as association neurons. Okay, so far we have been understanding a lot of things. Let's take a break for 2 minutes. Let me also drink water and let's be back. Okay, thank you, thank you. I'll be back in 2 minutes only. Huh? Okay, I hope the 2 minutes break is finished now. It's really very quick. Yes, for me. Let's continue the topic of discussion. Huh. Yeah, the board is also requiring a break. It's not coming when I'm pressing the button. Okay, okay, now it came. So, coming to the nerve, we shall be understanding about the transmission of nerve impulse. How there will be step by step movement of impulse. Initially, we could find whenever there is any change with respect to our environment, the stimulus will be detected by the receptors of the sense organs. They send the signal to whom? To the sensory neuron. From the sensory neuron, the signal gets sent to the central nervous system, either brain or the spinal cord. After that, what happens? The brain or the spinal cord, it analyzes, interprets, and takes the decisions. Now it sends the information to motor neuron. The motor neuron acts on the effector. It might be a muscle or gland. The motor neuron give impulses to the effector, and effector is now producing a response. Okay, so the transmission of nerve impulse, the step by step movement of impulse, how it will be there? First, a stimulus is producing an electrical impulse where it is producing inside a sensory neuron. How? Initially, sense organs, the receptors of the sense organs are sensing it. So the impulse is traveling through the neuron from the dendrite to the cell body and then to the axon. Wow, this is very nice. Now next what happens at the axon end? Remember, between two neurons we have seen synapse. There we have understood chemical messengers. What are they? Neurotransmitters. So chemical messengers are getting released which crosses the synapse. Now after crossing the synapse, it tends to act on the second neuron and creates a new electrical impulse in the next neuron. So in this manner, from one neuron to another neuron, from one neuron to another neuron, there is a transmission of impulse and the impulses will be moving in such way. If we have known a new thing, immediately what we'll do? We'll tend to our friend. Yes, or we'll tend to our tell to our family member. I have seen this, I have known this. This is a new latest news. Or if it is a gossip, gossip spreads very faster. Now you are connected with the gossips. Now, yes. So there is a transmission, there is a movement of the information. Similarly, here we could find from one neuron to another neuron, there is a movement of impulses. So why does impulse travel only in one direction? So we have seen only from one side of the synapse the chemical substance is getting released. So the receiving neuron, it is only accepting that signal. It is not accepting any other signal. So that's the reason we can say that the synapse, it is acting like a one-way gate. Only entry, no exit. It's like that. So what it further ensures, now impulses are moving in one direction only. There is no other backflow of electrical impulses, only one way, no back way. Okay. Now this is very very important. Okay. Coming to the organs of the human nerve system comprises of brain, spinal cord and nerves. Remember, the brain and the spinal cord, both of them come under the CNS and the nerves come under the PNS. CNS means central nervous system, PNS means peripheral nervous system. So brain, where is located? The beautiful picture of brain, where our brain is present inside the skull bone, and it is the main control center which receives the information, thinks, analyzes, interprets, takes decisions, give instructions, sends instructions. It does all the things together. Our brain is beautiful. Our brain is very tactic, very logical, and we can say a lot about our brain. Now coming to the spinal cord. It's not like only the brain is important. Our spinal cord is also important. So the spinal cord, it is like a thick nerve cord being present within the vertebral column inside our backbone. At the base of the brain, we could see the spinal cord emergence. So we can simply say the spinal cord is connected with the brain, and the spinal cord, the speciality of them is having the reflex actions. So for suppose, let me give an example. When a person is touching a hot pan, immediately there is a withdrawal of our hand. Okay. Imagine if that stimulus should get detected by the receptor of the sense organ. It should travel to sensory neuron. It should go to the brain. Brain analyzes, interprets, take decisions, sends instruction to motor neuron. Motor neuron sends instructions to effector glands. All this pathway takes a lot of time when the brain is involved, because brain needs some time to take the decisions. It's not so quick now. But when the spinal cord is involved, quick decisions, automatic decisions will be there. So that's the reason we can say the spinal cord is the one which is involved in the reflex action. So the nerves, on the other hand, remember, we are understanding about the neuron, which is the structural and the functional unit. Imagine a copper insulated copper wire. Okay, generally in our normal household wires we can see, below the insulation, we can say a lot of individual copper wires, right? Individual copper wires are put together, insulated with an insulating material, that becomes your wire. Okay, so now the same scenario, neurons, the structural and functional unit will be the individual unit. And when neuron, the axis of the neurons are put in together, when they are bundled together, when they are packed together, what we get? We get the nerve. So the nerves are spread throughout the body like electric wires, connecting the brain and spinal cord to each and every specific part of the body. Got it? Understood? Now coming to the types of nerve based upon the origin, based upon the point of emergence: cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and visceral nerves. Three types. What are they? The three types are cranial, spinal, and visceral. Cranial means from the brain, spinal from the spinal cord, visceral belonging to the intestinal systems, internal systems. Now, the other classification of nerves based upon the function. What we have? Three types: sensory, motor, and mixed. Sensory also called as afferent nerve. Remember again, don't get confused. Our previous discussion was neuron, afferent neuron, afferent neuron, and relay neuron. Now it is sensory nerve, afferent nerve, or motor nerve, afferent nerve, or mixed nerve. Got the difference? Yes. So now let's see what is the function of them. Okay, this will be so simple. Again, don't think it is complicated. Type of nerve: sensory, motor, and mixed nerve. Direction of impulse: sensory, sense organs to brain or spinal cord. The main role of it is carrying the information about what, whenever there are any outside or internal changes occurring within inside the body, it carries the information. What it is connecting? It is connecting the receptors in the sense organs to the CNS, helping detecting a stimuli. Okay, so the type of action will be helps in detecting the stimuli like heat, light, pain, or it might be sound, it might be even smell. On the other hand, motor nerve will be the opposite of it. So what it is connecting? The brain and the spinal cord, the muscle or the gland is the direction of impulse, and it is connecting the CNS to the muscles or the glands. So what is the role of it? Carrying the command from where? From where? Brain or spinal cord to whom? To the body parts. So the type of action, it helps in producing a response like movement or secretion. What else we have? Mixed nerves. Two CNS from CNS will be present. So they are having, the term mixed itself says they are having both sensory and motor function. Okay, so we can see them connecting the CNS with muscle, skin, and organs. So what they help with? They help in coordinating actions by carrying messages within both directions. The sensory and the motor both will be there over here. Okay, now, how does the nervous system work? Now comes the question like how it is working. So in it might be any stimulus, it might be heat, light, pain, pressure, temperature, anything. It is detected. Okay, sense organs. On the sense organs, we have receptor. They detect it. The sensory nerve carries the impulse to whom? To the CNS, including the brain or the spinal cord. Brain analyzes the information, interprets, take decisions. Okay, now it is sending the instructions to the motor neuron. Motor neuron acts on the effector. It can be a muscle or a gland. If it is a muscle, movement. If it is a gland, secretions, the hormonal secretions or any kind of secretions might be there. So for complex actions, sometimes the complexity involves extra strength, extra courage. Na? So that's the reason we have a combination of brain and spinal cord. For simple action, the spinal cord is enough. For quick, immediate responses, reflex actions, spinal cord itself is enough. Yes, now coming to the concept of organization of nervous system. Okay, let me give a pause. Let me reiterate the points once again for all of you. So far, we have been understanding about control and coordination. We started with the discussion of introduction, followed by, do you all remember what else we have seen from the starting up to now? structural and functional unit of neuron. Before that, we have understood regarding the sense organs, the receptors, effector, stimulus, then neuron, then what is a synapse, how the chemical transmitters will be playing a very important role in carrying the stimulus in one way. We have all seen, followed by the organs of the nervous system, brain, spinal cord, and nerve. The brain and spinal cord, we have got the brief introduction. The nerves, we have understood about them, how the impulse transmission will be there. Now we are understanding about the organization of the nervous system. So nervous system is having two divisions. Repeat with me. How many divisions? Two divisions. What are they? Central nervous system. Next, peripheral nervous system. So central nervous system comprises of brain and spinal cord, whereas the peripheral nervous system comprises of nerves arising from brain and spinal cord. It includes further somatic nervous system, autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system again have two things. What are they? Sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Don't get confused. I will give a brief about these systems as per your standards. How much is required for better understanding, I shall explain you. So, now coming to the central nervous system. Let's go one by one. What does the central nervous system comprise of? Brain and spinal cord. Now, the central nervous system receiving the information from different body parts. Whenever there is an external stimulus, different body parts will be responding. So, particularly the receptors in the sense organs response, there is a processing of this information, the sending of the information, so that the body will be analyzing this information, getting the instructions from the brain, and the body gives a specific response. Okay, so what will be the main functions? It receives the messages from the sense organs, analyzes and interprets the information. After analyzing, who analyzes? CNS analyzes. Brain or spinal cord will be analyzing, sends the suitable responses to whom? To either muscles or the glands, which are nothing but, we can say, effector. Okay, stimulus to the sense organ, from sense organ to up to effector. This will be the thing. So the brain, it is considered to be the highest coordinating center, the master of coordination. We can call the brain to be, because it is controlling all the activities. So the brain, where it is being located, as we have seen earlier, what will be the location and protection? Once again, let's see the point. Inside the skull, at the top of the spinal cord. So the skull is protecting the brain. The first thing, it is protecting the brain. Apart from this, the brain is also protected by three protective membranes, which are called as meninges, the pia mater, the dura mater, and the arachnoid mater. So, one more thing, one more speciality of the brain is not only these meninges, it have one more fluid present between these membranes called as cerebrospinal fluid. So, what it is doing? The cerebrospinal fluid will be protecting the brain from shocks and injuries. Let me pause for a moment. Let me ask you, do you all remember in the previous section of transportation, we have seen in the internal structure of heart, there is a fluid that protects the heart. It prevents the friction. What is that fluid? What is that fluid? Here it is the cerebrospinal fluid. What with respect to the transportation, the heart? Pericardial fluid. Okay. I only gave the answer. It's a pericardial fluid. So the main parts of the brain, what will be the main parts of the brain? The forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. Okay. So yes, before going to the forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Let's take once again a 5 minute break over here. Okay. So yes, students, I hope that 5 minutes break is enough. No, is it? We have a lot to discuss. Yes, reboost yourself. Let's enter into the topic of discussion. But before that, let me check if any questions from any one of you. Acha, okay. I could see a question being asked from a student like PNS corresponds for what? Simple. PNS corresponds for peripheral nervous system. So, what does it actually include? The PNS comprising of brain and spinal cord nerves. Okay, nervous system is of two types: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system. Okay, and peripheral nervous system comprises of nerves arising from brain and spinal cord. Simple question, simple answer. Yes. So, now let's move and let's see regarding the central nervous system, the parts of brain. As we have seen before the break, we have seen the brain consists of three parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain, it is the part of the brain which processes sensory information. So it helps with reasoning, problem solving skills, abilities. All this is given with the forebrain. So it is also regulating autonomic and endocrine motor functions. So coming to the midbrain, it helps in regulating movement and visual information, the predatory information as well. So hindbrain helps in regulating the autonomic functions. So it is relaying the sensory information. Apart from that, it coordinates with movement. It maintains the balance and equilibrium. And majorly over here in the hindbrain, we could see the balance, equilibrium, the posture being maintained by cerebellum. Cerebrum, the part of the brain, involves in thinking, involves in having the reasoning, the logic, all the memory will be there with the help of cerebrum, but cerebellum helps in the posture, the maintenance of balance. So let's have a glance about the parts of the brain. So forebrain consist of olfactory lobes, the cerebrum, and the diencephalon. As I have told you, cerebrum will be the one which helps us in thinking, in analyzing, right? So the diencephalon is further having two parts, the thalamus and the hypothalamus. So the midbrain acts as a connecting link between the hindbrain and the forebrain, the hindbrain and the forebrain. So the hindbrain comprises of cerebellum, medulla oblongata. One more thing will be there, that is the pons. Pons acting as a connecting bridge. So cerebellum helps in balance, posture, and maintenance of equilibrium. So coming to the functions of the brain, what does the brain do? The brain is receiving sensory information. The brain is receiving nerve impulses from sense organs. What sense organs we have? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. So from all the sense organs, through the receptors, there is a receiving of information. So what it helps us? It helps us to feel the temperature, light, sound, taste, and smell. All the sensations in simple terms. So what else will be the function of the brain? It interprets and processes the information. It is analyzing and it is comparing the messages which is coming from different receptors. Okay, let me give you one example. You have seen a very nice place, you wanted to go there. Okay, first you have visualized, you have seen it with your eyes, you wanted to go near to that place. Okay, so your movement, your steps will be towards that place. You have reached that place. Wow, that's fantastic. The view is beautiful. There is a gentle breeze that is touching your body. You feel the breeze, na? Very cool breeze. So the touch sensation, huh? The same time, the beautiful smell of the surroundings. Very nice aromas, very nice flavors will be coming to you. Your nose is detecting the smell. See here, multiple things are happening at the same time. So the brain, it is not designed to take only one action at a specific time. It is handling multiple messages, multiple comparisons will be there from different receptors. So based upon this analysis only, it is deciding what responses to be given. Okay, if it is a very gentle breeze, very cool and very calm environment, you want to stay there. But what if the environment is very hot? You are profusely sweating, you are under the scorching sun. Would you love to be in that place? No, 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 definitely not. Now, what your brain instructs you? To move away from that place, immediately go to shade and sit there. Okay, enough is enough. You have stood over there. Your body temperature regulation is out of control. Please go and sit. It will be instructing us, right? So now what we can say, the brain is analyzing and comparing the messages which are coming from different kinds of receptors. So based upon the analysis only, it is giving the most appropriate response. So what it controls? It controls voluntary actions, the ones which are under our own will, like walking. Our walking style is controlled, our writing style, the way that we speak, and the way we read, the way we play, everything is under the control of the brain. So it is not only involving voluntary actions, it also involves involuntary actions like the heartbeat, the blood pressure, the digestive activities, the ones which are occurring within our internal systems. So it is sending motor commands to whom? To either muscles or the glands. For what? To give a specific response, okay? Through the motor nerves, it is sending the instruction to whom? To muscle or glands, nothing but the effector, so that there is a eliciting of response. What else it does? It coordinates body movement. So I am moving from here to here. My brain is working. I am maintaining a basic balance posture. It's not like I'm falling down, right? All of a sudden, no. My balance is being maintained. My posture is being maintained. I'm having coordinating the activity. I'm holding a pen. I'm holding this in my hand. So there is a coordination. I'm giving out coordination because my brain is working. My brain is very sharp. It is working. It is coordinating my body movements. Now, the internal balance, homeostasis, it is like the brain also regulate the temperature, hunger, thirst, and sleep. There are various parts of the brain. It's not the simple thing that we see. Previously, I told only few parts, na midbrain, hindbrain, and forebrain. Forebrain consists of this and this. I told olfactory lobes, everything I told. It is not only that. There are a lot of things, but as of the standards, we are not going to much detailedly discuss over here. Okay, only peripheral information is okay. We are happy with peripheral information. Now, coming to the storage of memory and experiences. This is a beautiful part of our brain. The childhood memories, the moments that we cherish, the moment that we love, our birthday parties, family functions, having some fun time with friends, celebrations, all we like a lot, na? So the brain is storing the memory and experiences. It is storing information, what to do, what not to do. It stores the past experiences. If they are good, definitely yes. If they are bad, we feel a bit bad about them. Na? The skills, once you learn to do anything, once you are an artist, you have learned your skill very nicely. It's not like it goes away in one day. No, no, no. Constant practice, your skill remains your skill only. Okay, so our brain is helping to store the memory of this skill also. So finally, we can say it is storing memory and experiences so that it helps us to learn and recall. For suppose I am saying this class now. Okay, some part of your brain is analyzing, it is interpreting the data, storing the information. In your exam paper, you will represent the information. Okay, your brain is learning, it helps you to have a creation of memory and understanding and helps also in recalling. So what else our brain do? It controls our emotions, our behavior. Particularly during the teenage years, we have excessive, aggressive mood swings. Sometimes we feel happy. At the same moment, we feel very happiness, sadness, all this go hand in hand, right? So happiness, fear, anger, sadness, all the emotions are under the control of whom? Under the control of the brain. So what it is influencing, this is very, very important. It influences our behavior. If you are a happy, smiley person, okay, when anybody wants to describe you, what they will say? They will take out your name and he is a very happy person. She is a very happy person. She smiles always. Her smile is beautiful, or his smile is beautiful. Or if you are a person who is aggressive all the time with all the members around you, then what they'll tell? This person, he's so aggressive. She's so aggressive. She don't talk politely. Yes. So what is shaping our behavior? The emotions also. So who are controlling it? The brain is controlling it. Okay. So it is also supporting thinking and intelligence. It is supporting functions like thinking, reasoning, decision making. The brain is the decision making, creativity, the problem solving. All this will be under the control of our brain. So let's have a summary of the functions of the brain. What did the students receive sensory information, interprets and processes this information, controls voluntary and involuntary actions, sends motor commands to motor nerves, and coordinates body movements, helps in maintenance of internal balance. Memory storage, past experience storage will be there, controlling mainly emotions and behavior, and supporting our thinking and intelligence. See how good our brain is and how much it is helping. That's the reason we always need to keep our brain sharp. Don't keep your brain dull every time. Don't be dull and lazy. Keep your mind sharp, learn a new skill, learn some new things which enhances your sharpness, your motor skills, your analytical skills, your thinking, logical reasoning skills. Okay, so now moving on. The central nervous system also comprises of the spinal cord. It is like a long cylindrical thick nerve cord from where it is beginning from the medulla of the brain and extending downwards, being enclosed in the vertebral column or the backbone. It is also having the protection by the meninges as well as the CSF, the cerebrospinal fluid. It also has 31 pairs of the spinal nerves. So function includes the main thing, it is a controller of reflex action. So for nerve impulses to travel from sense organ to brain and from brain to muscles and glands, it is acting as a pathway. The spinal cord acts as a pathway. So moving on, peripheral nervous system. So far what we have learned, central nervous system comprising of brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord, is it done? Yes. Now coming to the peripheral nervous system, comprises of nerves arising from brain and spinal cord. Okay, before moving to the topic, let me check if any question. Okay, so damage to the cerebellum is affecting the body balance but not thinking ability. Why? Why? Because damage to the cerebellum. Cerebellum is being involved in maintenance of balance, posture, and equilibrium. No, cerebrum is being involved with thinking and analyzing, interpreting of the data. So when there is a damage to the cerebellum, of course the body balance is getting affected because cerebellum is the one which is controlling the balance, posture, and equilibrium. So that's the reason we can say the cerebellum is affecting the body balance, but it is not the thinking capacity because thinking capacity that is under the control of the cerebrum, not cerebellum. So now moving on, the peripheral nervous system, it is comprising of nerves arising from the brain and the spinal cord. So what is the main role? It is carrying the messages from where? From sense organs to whom? To brain and spinal cord. So from brain and spinal cord, where does the information pass? To the muscles and the glands. So finally, all the pathways same again. Now, components of PNS. What does this comprise of? Cranial nerves. The nerves arising from brain are the cranial nerves. The nerves arising from the spinal cord are the spinal nerves. Simple. Okay, 31 pairs of spinal nerves and 12 pairs of cranial nerves will be the components of the peripheral nervous system. So, functional divisions of PNS. Again, moving on. It has somatic nervous system, autonomic nervous system two divisions, sympathetic and parasympathetic. As of this standard, all these things are not required, but for your information sake, I will be giving only few of the topics out of it. Okay, not much, no much details, only just the slight information and the introduction. So the somatic nervous system, what does it tend to do? It controls the voluntary actions, means it is under our control, our brain's control. When we are walking, when we are writing, when we are reading, when we are lying down, when we are lifting any object, it is under the control of our skeletal muscles. So the skeletal muscles are doing it. So the somatic nervous system is mainly controlling the skeletal muscles which are being involved in the voluntary actions. So then definitely, what about the involuntary actions? Now comes the autonomic nervous system, which is controlling the involuntary actions. So what it is doing? It is working automatically without any conscious effort, like the digestive activities, the heartbeat, the respiratory mechanism, the breathing movements, all the internal organs and glands, and even we could say the muscles are under the control of this autonomic nervous system. Okay, so it is of two categories again, the sympathetic and parasympathetic. They are working together so that there is a maintenance of balance within our body. Okay, got it everyone? Now, peripheral nervous system. What does it help with? It helps the body to respond to changes in the environment. So it is acting as a coordination center between the CNS and body organs. Whatever the actions are being produced, it is coordinating those actions. It is being involved both in the voluntary and involuntary activities. So we can say peripheral nervous system. Since it comprises of nerves arising from brain and spinal cord, it is essential for survival and proper functioning of the body systems. Okay, are you clear with this? Yes, so let's take a 2 minutes break once again. Let me have some water and let's be back. So finally, our 2 minute break time is also done now. Let's check. what we shall be discussing now? We shall be discussing about how are the nervous tissues being protected. Okay, from all our previous understanding, let's see. The nervous system, it is controlling and coordinating many activities. So of course we can say the brain is delicate, the spinal cord is very delicate. So that is the reason, since these main parts are very delicate, they need the strong protection. So how the protection comes? One is the skull. If you take the case of the brain, skull and meninges, how many? Three meninges are there. One more thing is CSF. Yes, can we write this over here? Definitely. So, brain is the soft and very sensitive organ inside which it is being enclosed inside the hard bony box, that is the skull. What else does this have? It is having a cerebrospinal fluid which protects this from injuries and shocks. What else? It have three protective membranes. What are they? Dura mater, arachnoid matter, and pia mater. So see how extra protection it is having. Three things. Apart from that, skull is there, CSF is there. And what about the spinal cord? Spinal cord. We knew it is running through the back region, particularly being embedded within the vertebral column, being made of small bones, the vertebrae. They serve as a protection for the spinal cord. For brain, it is a skull. For spinal cord, it is a vertebral column. And the spinal cord is also having the fluid for reduction of the damage from the shocks. Okay, so we could find when there is a stimulus being received over here by either the brain or the spinal cord, the nerve impulse generation, now where it travels to the brain or the spinal cord, brain or spinal cord, analyzes this, gives the response, right? Yes. So, how does a nerve muscle cause muscle movement? How this is created? Initially, the sense organ, the receptors being present on the sense organs, they detect the changes. This is sent to the sensory nerve. From there, it reaches the brain or the spinal cord. The brain or the spinal cord interprets, analyzes the information, sends the instruction through the motor nerve to the effector, nothing but the muscle or the gland. So the impulse is now traveling to the nerves, reaching the muscles. So as soon as there is a uptake of the information, what does the muscle do? The muscle fiber, it is responding immediately. The impulse is reaching the muscle fiber, then the muscles will be responding. These muscle cells are characterized by the presence of special proteins. So upon the contraction of these proteins, there is a change in the position. So we can say when the proteins are moving closer, when they are shortening, when they are contracting, there is a creation of movement. It might be the movement of hands, legs and eyelids. Okay, so now what happens with muscles? Muscles, they are changing their shape with respect to the nerve signals that they are receiving. So this is how a nerve impulse is causing a muscle movement. Now, coming to the concept of reflex action. What is reflex action? The reflex action is like quick, automatic and involuntary response of a body to a stimulus. So without conscious thinking, without any efforts of our brain, this is getting carried out, the reflex action. Okay, but before going on to the concept, give me a moment. Let me check if any question before we move, because this reflex action is very, very important. Okay, I received a question stating spinal cord being involved in reflex action instead of brain. Huh. What is the reason behind the spinal cord being involved in reflex action? Means spinal cord, the same thing that I am about to discuss, I got that question. So the spinal cord, it is going to give a quick automatic response. Imagine the impulse from where? From the sensory nerve, it should reach the brain, from brain to the motor nerve, from motor nerve to the effector, instructions should be sent. For carrying out of all these things, a lot of time is required. If brain is involved, imagine what might have happened. Okay, let me give a simple example. A person is about to touch a hot pan. Okay, the hot pan, the stimulus should be sent to the brain, from the brain to the motor nerve, from there to the effector, all the pathway. Once again, repeat. Okay, so it takes a lot of time for our brain to interpret, analyze, take the decision, being the decision maker, sending instruction. But if it is a spinal cord without conscious control, there is a quick, immediate response. If the brain is getting involved, there is some time for it to interpret the data, but by the time the damage gets worsened if you are touching a hot object. Imagine your brain is taking some time to make the decisions and you are still touching the hot object. What happens to your finger, to the skin? It gets burnt. So that's the reason the brain is not being involved. The spinal cord is being involved in carrying out the reflex action. Of course, now you can ask me a question. Ma'am, can you 100% say only the spinal cord being involved? Let me tell you, there are two kinds of reflexes, cerebral reflex and spinal reflex. I shall discuss about that soon. Okay, as of now, I got to answer the question. Now. I hope you got the answer for your question. The spinal cord being involved in reflex action instead of brain. Why? Because they give out a quick automatic involuntary response without our conscious control. Okay, so reflex. What is reflex? It is the pathway followed by the nerve impulse from receptor through the region of the effector. During a reflex action, the pathway that is being followed over here, it is called as a reflex. So what happens in reflex action? As we have seen, there is an establishment of very quick, very immediate automatic responses. Whenever there are sudden changes in the environment, imagine you are walking on the road. Okay, all of a sudden there was a sharp object. You have placed your leg on the sharp object. Immediately, what you are going to do? You are going to withdraw your leg. So, what is helping you? You are not under the conscious control of your brain. Your spinal cord is helping you to achieve that. Okay, do remember spinal cord. Suddenly step, yes, the same example. Suddenly step on a sharp object. Okay, dust is entering in your eyes. You blink. When sharp light is getting focused, you move away from that light. You are pulling your hand from the hot surface. So, in all the scenarios, your body is immediately responding. So, why do reflex actions occur so fast? The same thing that I have told now. Some situations are really very, very dangerous and very urgent. If our brain is into the picture, it is taking the decisions, it is thinking, it is analyzing, interpreting, deciding what to do. It would take more time. By the time the thing that should happen happens, of course, we will be getting damaged, right? We could get injured. So that is the reason we could find the reflex arc will be playing a very important role. So the reflex arc being a pathway followed by the nerve impulses during a reflex action, it helps our body to respond immediately without any decision of the brain. So reflex arc, since it is being formed mainly in the spinal cord, okay, it is giving a quick decision without any conscious control. However, imagine, however, after you touch the hot object, you are withdrawing your hand, but later you will understand what have happened in that quick flash. So now your brain is getting the information of what happened. So the brain is still being informed about the worst scenarios that you are facing, what happened after the completion of the action. Okay, got it? Yes, so what will be the parts of a reflex arc? The receptor, the sensory neuron, interneuron, the motor neuron or the effector. Interneuron, otherwise known as the relay neuron. So we could find the hot object being the stimulus. So the pain receptor in your hand, in your finger, it gets activated, sends the information to whom? To the afferent nerve, the sensory nerves. Okay, remember again, neuron corresponds for a single structural and functional unit, and nerves is a group of axons bundled together. So there is a sending of the information to the spinal cord, the reflex center. Here only relay neurons will be there. Then again the motor nerve, the effector nerve will be into the picture. So the effector, the muscle over here, it is getting immediately withdrawn. The hand withdrawal will be there. Okay, this is what happens. So now let's try to understand the difference between reflex arc and reflex action. Most of the times we club this, we intermix this, but it is the one which should not be intermixed. There is a difference. Let me tell you what is the difference. So reflex action is like quick automatic response of a body towards a stimulus. Reflex arc on the other hand, pathway. This is very very important. Reflex arc is a pathway through which during a reflex action the nerve impulse is traveling. Okay, so we can say reflex action is the activity or the response being shown by our body. On the other hand, reflex arc is the structural route being followed. So reflex action, like pulling the hand away from a hot object, blinking of eyes when dust enters, when we are stepping on a sharp object, we are immediately withdrawing our leg. That one. Whereas the reflex arc, this is a pathway now, from receptor to sensory neuron, from sensory neuron to the spinal cord, to there to the motor neuron and to the effector. So reflex action help in immediate protection from danger. Of course, the reflex arc is also the same pathway, but it is a fast transmission of nerve impulses. So we can say reflex action is because of the nervous coordination, and because of the reflex arc only, we can make that the reflex action getting possible over here. So mainly the brain is the spinal cord is controlling the reflex action. Of course, the brain is being informed later, but reflex arc, it is a pathway where it is being found inside the spinal cord. Okay, so types of reflexes, as I have told you, we have two types of reflexes now, the cerebral reflex and the spinal reflex. So cerebral reflex being controlled by the brain. For example, I shall tell you an example. When a light is being focused on your eyes, okay, so what you will be doing immediately, by the flash of the light, you blink your eyes, you try to close your eyes. Okay, sometimes we can say that reflex is under the control of the brain, and we could find cerebral reflexes are very rare, spinal reflexes are most common, cerebral reflexes are very rare. Okay, comparatively slower because the brain is being involved over here. The spinal reflexes controlled by the spinal cord are the very fast one. So since brain is involved, we can say that conscious thinking involves thinking center, whereas the spinal cord, it does not involve thinking, unconscious. Like it's not like loss of conscious, it's like not under our conscious control. So cerebral reflex protects the sense organs and spinal reflex protects the body parts like blinking, as I have told you. When light is being focused on the eyes, we try to blink, we try to close our eyes. The same thing, when dust is entering our eyes, we immediately show spinal reflexes, okay? And hand withdrawal, moving the hand away or moving the leg, pulling the leg away from the hot object or from a sharp object will be the example of the spinal reflexes. Are you clear, everyone? Yes, give me a moment. Let me check if any question further. Okay, reflex actions, why they are being considered to be the protective responses. See, why is so simple now? Why? Because the reflex action, what they are mean for, they are giving a quick, immediate, automatic response to protect us from the danger. Touching a hot object, immediate withdrawal of our hand, protection of our hand from further damage or further injury. That is useful for us. Trying to walk on the road, came across a sharp object, leg immediately withdrawn, protection of the leg. So we can say reflex actions are considered to be the protective ones. Okay, now? So yes, so far we have been discussing a lot number of things. Finally, we are at the end of today's discussion. So far what we have been discussing, students, we understood regarding the introduction. We have seen the control and coordination, how it is being watered by two systems, nervous system and endocrine system, followed by the sense organs and the receptors. So what we have learned there, eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin are the sense organs. gustatory, olfactory receptors, phonoreceptors, photoreceptors, all these are the receptors. Then human nervous system and the organs, we came across the central nervous system comprising of brain and spinal cord. We understood the parts and functions of the brain. Forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. We got across the spinal cord. We have seen the nerves arising from the brain and the spinal cord comprise the peripheral nervous system. So we have seen the parts and functions of the PNS. Again, segregation. Somatic nervous system, autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic systems. Okay, all the segregations. So parts and functions of the peripheral nervous system we have seen. Half the brain and the spinal cord are getting protected by the presence of a fluid, by the presence of meninges, spinal cord being present in the vertebral column, brain being present within the region of skull, the heart bony box. Finally, the reflex action and the reflex act followed by cerebral and the spinal flexes. Let me tell you once again, cerebral reflexes are very rare in occurrence, spinal reflexes are the most common because the spinal cord gives a quick automatic response without the conscious control. Later, of course, the brain is getting informed over here. Okay, so students, finally, we are at the end of today's discussion. I hope the discussion was clear for you. So, with this, finally, we have understood this part now. The next session, we shall be understanding about furthermore concepts like we will be understanding about the coordination with respect to the endocrine system, hormones, how they'll play an important role with respect to the coordination with plants, how it is playing a very important role. All these concepts we shall be understanding in the further sessions. Okay, so if you have any questions or any queries, you can please get connected with us through the chat and comment section. So feel free to utilize all the resources, and thank you so much everyone. Have a great evening. All the best for your examination.